Bam, bam, just like that, back with another Portable Clint. Guys, I'm in Corpus Christi, Texas, visiting home for the holidays. Me and my next guest, we've been trying to make it happen in LA, but we're making it happen here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got nothing but a legend sitting right next to me. Ladies and gentlemen, Pepe Serna. Whoa!
Goodbye.
Whoa, come here, Pepe. Come here, Pepe. Look at you, man. Look at you, Pepe. The camera loves you.
Oh, yeah.
Pepe, let me tell you something, all right? I watched a lot of stuff about you the past 2 days, but I've been watching you my whole life. But here's what I know about you, Pepe. You told me that you started off in improv, right?
Yeah.
The thing about improv is, if you want to be a successful improver, you make the other person look good.
That's it.
And that, my friend, is what you do every single time you're on screen. The fact that you stood with Steve Martin in The Jerk, we're going to get into all that. But I was watching that last night. I'm thinking, wow, Pepe, he held his own with Steve Martin. Al Pacino, you hold it, man, and you make them even look better because they're the star of the show, and that's what our job is.
Right.
But you shine bright, brother.
Thank you.
Pepe, enough about all that. Let's get down to business.
All right.
Pepe, tell me when you first started thinking about acting.
What I can remember, just going really quick, is that at 3 years of age, on Madero Street here in Corpus, which is now the freeway,
Okay.
by Bunk's Cafe, Sears. My dad was in the Navy. I was born at the Naval Base. My godfather had a boxing ring in the backyard. So after the boxers would get up there and box and spar, then I would jump up there and start pretending to be a boxer. And then I must have accidentally knocked myself out on purpose. And then everybody started laughing. So then I did it again and they didn't laugh. It's funny the first time.
Funny the first time.
But don't
That's
keep
true, Pepe.
repeating. Then so the stage actor was born at 3. Then we moved into our first gringo neighborhood on 18th Street in Morgan. If you can believe it, they were all gringos then, back in 1950. So there was a doctor that lived next door, and he invited us to his daughter's birthday party, and he filmed it. So then a few months later, he showed the film in the backyard on the projector, and I got to see myself on film.
Oh, okay.
So now the movie actor was born.
Oh, okay. Right.
So then, a few years later, I'm 10 years old now, at the Uncle Charlie St. John show, the weatherman, and it's a bebop, like the Dick Clark show, and so I'm up there dancing, and so boom. And so I was always an actor, and everything I did, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, every sport I played, I was performing. I was just...
You had a ham in you.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that feeling, Pepe.
Yeah.
When you make them laugh, man, you want that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, when did you think about moving to Hollywood?
Well, first I did a movie in 1964 here, Jacket of Blood and Gold. I was the lead in a bullfight movie.
Here in Corpus Christi?
Here in Corpus Christi.
Okay.
So we would film on weekends. The director went off to New York to work at the World's Fair in 1965.
Okay.
And got me a job as a barker at the Moroccan Pavilion. So we were trying to raise money, and I studied at the Max Slater Academy. So that was 1965. I was going to Del Mar, doing, all my acting in high school. Everything was performing. Everything I did.
Okay.
Every sport, like I said before. Then Theater Sandy Shores was happening back then. So I did that for the summer. And then after, in 1965, I came back. In 66, I went into the Marines for 6 months. And for me, it was going to be a 6-month acting course. So I was going to be doing a movie. So the drill instructors were my directors. So anything they said,
I like your thinking.
That's been my MO my whole life.
Wow, that's smart, Pepe.
Then from there, I got out of the Marines after 6 months. Then I went to Mexico City for 2 years. Got into the production of Hair. And then was going out to Hollywood to do the production of Hair in Hollywood. And so I caught the bus. They dropped me off at the Hollywood Roosevelt.
Oh yeah, that's where my grandmother worked. By the way.
Really?
Yeah. My dad was born in L.A. and that's where she worked. Was it the
Oh,
Hollywood?
wow. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no. That's good. It all ties in.
Yeah, it all
you know?
ties in.
And so I thought I was going to go do the production, and I said, I'm here. They said, yeah. I said, yeah, Pepe Serna. And they said, I said, they told me to come and I would be in the play. They said, no, we have auditions on Wednesdays, but come to the see the show tonight. So I was going to be the Mexican Clint Eastwood. I had this Mexican sombrero and a Mexican sarape brown. I had made an eye patch with studs and a neck and bicep and like Gilbert Rowland had these wrists. And so I had this whole thing that I was going to be. And so at halftime, halfway through the play, I went to the back wall and I knew that the Smothers Brothers were the producers. So I said, I'm going to get discovered tonight. So I went and I just leaned up against the wall, and I always carried a cane, a wooden cane. And I was expecting somebody to come and put me under contract. But that didn't happen till the very next day. That night I went to the Whiskey A Go-Go, and my friend said, I'm going to go take you to meet my friend, Diane. And the next day he took me to my wife's store. And 6 months later, she came and got me, and I was homeless, but I was doing my theater workshops. And so I got put under contract 6 months after I got to Hollywood, and my family doesn't even know where I am.
Okay, Pepe, if I'm not mistaken, you were one of the last contract players in Hollywood.
Yes,
that was a big thing back in That was a big thing back then.
Yeah, it got me my house.
Really?
My first house.
Tell me about that. What kind of contract is it? We can talk money now because it was back then. I wouldn't ask now, but
yeah, no, that was one thing I always did. I always brought the actors in and talked money, because I wanted to let them know that if you ask for too much, you may not get the part. And if you want the billing and stuff, so do you have the cojones to say, I want this, I want that? I didn't do that. I just wanted to work. Eddie Olmos, my best friend, he held out. Would
that be Edward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Edward James Olmos, yeah. He was on a totally different playing field, right? So, but for me, it was that. So anyway, they put me under contract, and they said, we'll give you $650 a week for 6 months, or $550 a week for a year. But it was a 7-year contract, so I thought I was covered for 7 years.
Yeah.
I said, I'll take the $550 for the year.
Yeah.
And I only worked 2 weeks, like 2 days really, in that whole year. And they dropped me on a Friday after a year, and Monday I started a 10-week movie with them, Swashbuckler, a pirate movie. And one hand doesn't know what the other one is doing.
That's right. Pepe, here's what's very impressive with you, okay? I don't know if you know this, but on IMDb, you ever go to imdb.com?
Yeah, especially now that I'm doing my autobiography.
Here's what's extremely impressive with you. You have your first IMDb credit at 1970. From 1970 all the way to 2010, you worked every single year for 40 years, Pepe. That's impressive, man. My hat off to you, brother, because it's hard. It's hard, and you did that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And here's what I like. I just want to talk about Edward for 2 seconds. He said something about you. I saw this in an interview. He didn't tell me. I don't know him. But he said the great thing about you, and Pepe and I like to do the same thing. That's the reason why it stuck out to me. He said that you would always call your friends to let them know that they're casting for a part that you just auditioned for.
Right.
You've been so secure with yourself that you were willing to tell your friends about the same part that you wanted. Yeah. Tell me about that. Where does that come from, Pepe?
I think it came from the playground, from the park, playing football, baseball. One day you're on my team, the next day you're on the other team.
Yeah.
But if you're on the other team and you make a great catch, that's a great catch.
Amen,
it's
brother.
not like what they're taught here. It's cheating and lying about everything. If you foul somebody, you foul them. If you're out of bounds, you're out of bounds.
That's right.
But for me, I had that. It's just in the culture, or just something within me that always wanted to help everybody else. I always wanted to pass the ball to somebody else and let them score.
Well, because you know, Pepe, as well as I do, Hollywood is a very selfish town. Mm-hmm. So that's why you always stood out, because you were a bright light in Hollywood. So thank you for being a bright light. Now, Pepe, Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood yet?
Yes, yes.
I saw it last night for the 5th time. And I saw it last night, and I thought about you a lot. Because you were on Mannix. They brought up Mannix. They brought up Kojak or Telly Savalas. You worked with Telly Savalas. I'm like, wow, this is kind of Pepe's beginning here. Did you see a lot of yourself in that movie?
Yeah, especially since I went to audition for it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm watching him direct this actress, because it was like a glass.
You're talking about Quentin.
Quentin
Okay,
Tarantino.
okay.
Yeah, he's directing this actress, and it's a glass door, and he's coming in and out, and it's like really paying a lot of attention to her for like 30, 40 minutes, like really giving her a lot of direction. And then he looked up at me and just went, you know. So then finally, when it came my turn, I went in, and he started doing all my lines from all my movies. It was crazy. It was like, so I left there thinking that I had the part.
I know that happens. That's called the kiss of death, as we all know.
But my friend got it,
right?
Which was fine. But it really, that one was a surprise, you know. But the part was probably too small for me. He thought. I'm just kidding, because like they say, there are no small parts,
actors.
just small actors. Yeah.
Okay, Pepe. I'm going to do something different with you than I do with other people, okay? And I hope you don't mind, because you're in so many classic films, okay? And we all know what films you're in, but and I never have notes, but I'm bringing notes because you're a legend and I want to go over everything.
Okay.
Okay, but Pepe, I'm going to say, this is the game I created last night called Fun, Quick Story, or Pass, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to mention a show that you were on, and if you could tell me a backstory to it, an audition, a fight that you got with one of the actors, what the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. Are you ready to play this?
Yeah.
Quick story or pass? Rockford Files.
Rockford Files. I was I had to hit this guy. I had this shark's tooth. And it was this ring, this same ring that I used in the show.
Oh wow, man!
And I went and the guy got, like, his eyes got really big when he saw it coming. But you know, we know how to throw a punch, so you don't hit him. But James Garner was just an incredible guy. He was really he cracked up when he saw that the guy got scared.
Okay, now listen, Pepe, everybody goes to you on this one, okay? But Pepe, seeing how I'm 50 years old, this movie came out when I discovered my love for movies. Car Wash. I love it so much that I went to where the car wash is now torn down. Have you driven by that area?
Oh yeah.
And there's a little convenience store called the Super 6 across the street that is still there.
Yeah.
And I live close to it.
Oh, you
and
do?
like sometimes I'll walk over there. I'm like, okay, this is where Pepe did this, or this is where Richard Pryor did this. So, really quick, Car Wash. What pops into your head about that?
Oh man, that was such a great time, because we were there all day, every day, whether you were on film or not, because you never knew when you were going to be in the background where they were shooting. And it was just working with all these great actors.
So many great actors.
And then we had the improv, the ability, they gave us a carte blanche to say what we wanted to say and do it. But like you were saying before about improv, see, a lot of great improvisational actors they're the only ones that want to improvise. They don't want anybody else to improvise.
Because they want to be in control of the situation.
They
get thrown off.
Yes. But see, with improv is that I make you the star. I mean, wow, that Stetson hat and that blue jean jacket. Sure, you know, I heard that you really give people a break. And then now it's called the yes and adjustment, which is positive.
Yes.
And a lot of people say, I'm not a sheriff because they already have, I'm a fisherman, don't you know? Don't you see my, and so it negates it and it stops the scene. But when you
Yes.
do the positive, yeah, you go along with it. Go along with the flow, then you make things happen. Always. It always works.
Pepe, that's great advice. That is great advice. Okay. You ready for the next one?
Sure.
You have anything else about car wash? Because I love it so much, I'm going to ask you twice. Anything else about car wash?
Oh man, there were just so many.
Did you love the song? Would you drive
all the
around?
music, all the music. Yeah,
Which was Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
but
Rolls Royce and oh God, I'm drawing a blank. The producer, but he came he came on the set one Monday morning and he says, Pepe, he said, I saw a movie this weekend and you weren't in it. Because at that time
That's great,
I was
man.
in so many movies.
That's great, Pepe. I
But,
like that.
Yeah, he was a great musical producer.
Last thing about car wash. What do you remember about two people? What do you remember about Richard Pryor? What did he teach you?
Richard Pryor, just that I mean, he was such a huge star.
Yeah.
And that he was he accepted everybody and nobody got on his nerves or anything. He just was communicating with everybody really nice.
George Carlin.
And George Carlin, yeah, he was, I mean, I loved him so much.
Yeah.
Oh, he was just such a brilliant social commentator.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Okay, Pepe. Really quick. Kojak.
He always had that lollipop.
Yep.
You know? And he had like a teleprompter a lot of times.
For all of his lines?
For some of the lines, yeah.
Okay.
So
being the star of the show, you get away with everything, right?
Yeah.
Because
Same
imagine
thing-
if we asked for that.
Oh yeah, same thing happened with Raymond Burr.
Really?
He did all his. I did a spin-off for a series, and it was all teleprompter for him.
Wow.
But when you get to be that good,
yeah, man.
you know, like the news reporters and stuff, you're looking at them, and it looks like they're just coming right off the top of their head. You know.
Beretta,
Robert Blake, man, that was. I had been a Golden Glove champ when I was 18.
and which he was a Golden Gloves, right? He was a boxer.
He's just a
Okay, go
fighter
ahead. Go
in his
ahead.
head,
All right,
you
good.
know.
Go ahead.
He was like he had a lot of problems because he was a child actor, and he was making money for his family,
Okay.
and so he was forced to act,
All right.
and so he hated that about it. But on Beretta, which was really interesting, is that I went in and they said, you know, can you box? I said, yeah, I was Golden Glove champ, yada, yada, yada. So, and that was what he always said, yada, yada, yada. and then you say, and then I go, yada, yada, yada. And then you say, and then, so you would come into on the set and he would give you new dialogue. And the actors would come unglued because they had prepared.
Yeah.
And now you got to go brand new lines and you got to memorize them and just go like you've been studying them all night. And so, but I fought Bobby Chacon, who was a world champ fighter, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so I did really good. I fought him for 2 days, and I hadn't trained. I was 34. It was like 16 years after I had fought here in Corpus, but I had the muscle memory of training, so I knew how to fight. And I said, I did really good. You know, I said, it must have been because I outweighed him 30 pounds. Then I went to see him fight that week. I said, you fool.
He was holding back?
Oh, man, holding back. I couldn't have touched him with a baseball
nice,
bat.
that's
He was an incredible. And then later, he ended up dying from Alzheimer's.
Really?
From all the punches. He took a lot of punches.
Pepe, I'm going to go off. I'm still playing that game, but there's something I like about you. You said that you've never had stage fright.
Right.
Now, being an actor on our way up, if we get called to the set, we practice all night long, and then all of a sudden they're giving us new lines. Do you get into your head when you have all these new lines? Are you freaking out even more like, oh my God, I got to memorize this. Oh my God, the second AD is about to come get me. What are you thinking? Or do you just adapt really quick?
I was able to adapt really quick because for the most part at the beginning you only had a few lines.
Right, exactly.
You never had a lot of lines. But you know, as well you know, one line is harder to do than 10 lines.
You are right about that, brother.
That is.
Because everybody's saying all their stuff, and this one guy's got one line. If he screws it up,
and he's got to wait. You got to wait, come in right, and then my hearing was bad, so it was like, if you come in too soon, or, and that's why it's always like James Cagney said, just walk in, and he would learn his script from the first page to the last page, and he had it down.
Really?
Yeah, and so the thing is just to be prepared and to know, and coming from improv, is that you want to make everything sound like you're making it up for the first time, which is not an easy thing
No,
to
not
do.
at all, not at all.
Well, you know, but it was, no, I was pretty good. I had confidence
Yeah.
that I would remember it, because I would study, I would do my due diligence and do my homework, and make sure that I memorized it.
Pepe, I'm going to give you a compliment. I've already kind of said this at the top, but again, Pepe, when you're on screen, you are cinematically beautiful, man. Dude, you really make the scene look better, and your acting makes it better. So you are seriously, man. You are fun. You're always a fun actor to watch. So I'm,
Well, thank you.
yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
Okay, all right. The Jerk.
The Jerk.
Tell me quick.
The Jerk is really interesting, because you would think that Steve Martin, the wild and crazy guy, is not a wild and crazy guy.
I know.
He is serious as a heart
Yes,
attack.
I know that.
He would go from the set and then back to his honey wagon to work. But I was in the car, and Carl Reiner was directing it.
A legend, man.
He is a legend of legends. I mean, he was incredible. So when the money came up, and he comes up with the money, and I started to overact, like Mexican soap operas. I was there, and I'm like he's got the money in his hand, and I'm like, Carl said, no, just say the lines, don't go crazy here, and so then, but my friend Trinidad Silva, who was from the Valley.
Is he the guy who's sitting next to you or behind
Yes,
you?
next to me.
Okay.
And he was in Hill Street Blues. Did a lot.
I
of
believe he
movies.
died early, right?
In '88.
He was in Colors, last film.
Yes.
Okay.
And he was fabulous, man. He was like such a great actor.
Yeah.
His first audition
That was
with
Mr.
me.
Nussbaum.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was the whole joke, is that Steve Martin said, yeah, that's Mr. Nussbaum. Yeah, that's his wife's card. I'll vouch for him. And Steve Martin said,
Okay.
well, so long as we have a voucher, But
Exactly.
so see, when you give an actor something to work with,
Yes.
it's not make it about yourself.
Right.
You make it part of the scene. That's where actors don't understand. They think that they're going to try and do something funny. That is, if you try to be funny, Dale Close, I studied with Dale Close.
Oh, that's
who was,
yeah,
the improv guru.
Chicago legend.
He said, life is funny. You don't try to make things funny. Life is funny, so you just do it. And that was the whole take on it, is how do you do that?
Yeah.
And mainly is like concentrating on somebody else and making sure that you're looking at them. And so the camera and the stage, when you're on stage, they're not sure what you're doing, but when I'm giving, instead of me, hey, that I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I'm all into you, then it makes me more simpático.
Yes,
it
yes,
makes me more
man.
like this guy's got, he likes people, and it makes that person shine.
Yes.
And then the reflection comes back to you, and
Well, again, that's what you do, and that's what one of your major strengths is, and that's why you worked for 40 years straight and still working. Anything
now
else?
50 years.
50 years. Pepe, anything else about The Jerk? I love it so much, I asked that one twice, too.
Yeah. It was just, what's his name? Was it Walsh? The guy.
Yes, JD, the Walsh, the guy, yes.
Later, I was doing an audition.
He was the guy shooting the cans.
Yes, he was the guy shooting the cans. So later we were at 20th Century Fox, and he comes in. He was auditioning for something else, but you know how you sit outside.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he's looking around, and then he looks in the offices, and he's looking around the offices, and the secretaries are like, "Can we help you?" He said, no, it's all right. I'm just thinking about buying the place.
That's funny.
So that's, when you bring because we as actors, you're there and then you've got all your cohorts that you audition with all the time.
Yep.
Everybody's up for the same part, and you're like, oh man, he looks so much better for the part than I do.
Amen,
you start
brother.
getting
Yes,
into that
yes.
instead of just taking ownership of like him. You know, he was gonna buy the studio.
That is funny. Okay, Honeysuckle Rose, which is cool because it was also filmed here in Corpus. I don't know if your scene was.
I didn't get to shoot here.
Were you mad about that you weren't able to shoot in your hometown?
Yes, I really wanted. I was disappointed.
Okay, okay, give me a quick story on that show, on that movie.
There's a couple of interesting things. Is that we just did the Planters, that we won the Austin Film Festival, and the Austin Film Festival offices were at the Driscoll Hotel where we stayed.
Okay, yes.
And we did Honeysuckle Rose.
Wow.
But I was Willie's bus driver, and they would do the movie all day, and then they would play all night.
Really?
And just jam all night. And I said, I was like, Mr. Know-It-All. I said, you guys should, chill a little bit, because you got to get up tomorrow, and it's a little bit different but I had no idea. They've been doing that their whole life.
And he's still doing it.
Oh yeah,
he's still doing
it. Not so much him going out,
right?
But the other guys, all the rest of the band was bad. But it was amazing to be part of that.
That's a great movie. I just watched it again a couple of months ago,
and people love Willie Nelson, men, women, children, old, young. Everybody. Great. He's just so charismatic.
And now his kids are coming strong.
Lucas.
Lucas is great. Like yeah. Okay, here's a good one. This is a lot of people come up to you about this one. Let's hit it. Scarface.
Oh, Scarface. That goes on and on. So I couldn't get an audition for Scarface. They wanted Edward James Olmos, to play one of the parts. I won't say which one, just because.
Sure.
But they wanted him to play one of the major parts, but he wouldn't do it because he thought that it was negative toward the Latinos.
Okay.
He would only play the banker. There was a one-day job.
Okay.
And they offered him a lot of money to play this big part in it. And at the time he was broke. He was taking the ballad of Gregorio Cortés around from city to city.
Okay.
So he helped them cast it. He said, I'll cast it. I'll help you cast it if you have to let me interview. You have to let me go into a room separately with every actor 15 minutes before they come in to meet Brian De Palma. And God, I'm drawing a blank on the casting director's name. But so anyway, they let him do that.
Pepe, I'm sorry. I was acting like I knew what you were talking about. What is it that he's doing for 15 minutes?
He's rehearsing the people that are going to come in and audition for Brian De Palma.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
But you said some Spanish word at the beginning of what he was doing. He thought it was negative because of certain.
Oh, that it was negative toward Latinos.
I know, but you said some words.
Did you hear me say it?
Anyone?
He was trying to sell a film or.
Yes.
Yes, the Ballad of Gregorio Cortés.
Okay.
His movie.
Okay.
Which is a classic movie. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We had done that. I was in it.
Okay,
and it was
I get it now.
And it's a famous story because that movie was what saved the Texas Rangers. They were going out in 1910, so the Texas Rangers go to the ranch, and they end up killing me, his brother, and then they're chasing him for 10 days.
Okay.
And he's on horseback. And he's like the most incredible horseman you ever seen.
And this movie got made?
Gregorio Cortés.
Okay,
yeah.
I gotta watch it.
So Eddie was taking that out, and he was calling what is called four-walling it. Are you familiar with the term?
No.
Where you rent a theater.
Okay.
He would go to the LULAC, GI forums of every city, and get the people to come to the movie theater, buy the tickets, and show it. So it'd be filled up.
I got you.
Every movie every night would be filled up all around the country. So anyway, he got me to come in to read it. So he's doing Al Pacino's part, and I was up for Stephen Bauer's part,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So we did it, man, and we're like, we do the whole movie, and we're looking in the mirror, we're looking in the glass in New York, and we're talking, and we create this whole ambiance, and afterwards, Brian De Palma is always like looking down, like taking notes, and he just looked up afterwards and just said, "What a troupe!
Wow.
What a troupe!" And so, anyway, that's the only part he would have played was Al Pacino's part. But then, they fly me to New York to audition, and my wife is always with me. So we go, and we go to Miriam Colon, who played his mother. She had a theater there in New York, and so memories of my days of 1965 of the World's Fair, walking down those streets came back, and so I'm walking. And so we go there, and it's called round robin auditions. So you get to audition with Al Pacino, and then 6 other characters for every other part.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm like improvising. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I go back to the hotel that night, and I told my wife, if I don't get that part, I'm going to be really surprised. The next day I come back, I turn the corner, full of all this and vinegar, and I see Stephen Bauer talking to the casting director, and I could tell from the body language that I knew that they wanted him already, but he was too beautiful, too handsome, too clean, and they brought me in to kind of challenge him to get a little funky.
Okay. Yeah.
But if I was producing it, I would have hired him, and I wouldn't hire me.
Well, I'm glad you weren't producing it, Pepe.
Yeah. But so anyway, cut to the chase. A month later, Eddie almost calls me and says, "Okay, you want to go up for Angel?" I said, "What?" He says, "The guy gets his arm sawed off." I said, "Yeah." He said, "But you got to be here in 15 minutes." And I live 15 minutes from the studio. So my friend Domingo had gotten the part, but he was doing the Green Emerald with Ryan O'Neal in Veracruz and couldn't get out of doing it. So then I got the movie. I got Angel, and they killed me right away, but they paid me for 25 weeks.
Really?
I worked for half a year because they had to pay me all the way till I went to Miami.
And Pepe, it's a scene that's when you think of Scarface, that's one of the first scenes besides, spraying everybody, whatever. But that's like a major scene that people think of.
Yeah.
Is that bathroom scene, man.
Yeah.
Tell me, how often do people come up to you about that?
When they do.
But it's always like a passion, like, oh my God, you're Pepe. It's like they're excited to meet you because of that.
They are, the ones that do recognize me, but I'm not. It's not all the time where it's a nuisance.
Well, that's good, right? That's good.
Yeah. No, I wish it was more of a nuisance because I like to be.
Okay, Pepe, we're moving on. Anything else about Scarface?
Just, I was reading, what was I reading? I was reading a book. I can't think of it, but anyway. And Pacino says, we were in Florida, and he says, "Hey man, what are you reading?" And I said, "Hey, do you go to any parties and stuff?" He says, "No, man, I don't go to no parties, man, because I talk like this and people think I'm crazy, because he never got out of character."
Really?
Yeah. So anyway, it's like he says, "What are you reading?" And it was something to do anyway, and he says, "Hey, don't buy no wooden nickels, man." Don't believe it. Don't believe what's in that book.
Okay, here's a fun movie. This is a cult classic. Do you know what movie I'm talking about when I say cult classic?
Well,
a lot of your movies are cult classics, but there's a couple of them. Buckaroo Banzai.
Oh, Buckaroo Banzai, man. That was The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai.
And the name is a little bit longer than that. The Adventures...
And the eighth...
it's something.
The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai and...
I don't know if I even have the...
into the eighth...
eighth Wonder.
Yeah,
something like
something. Yeah. But the guy who wrote it, Earl Mac Rauch, was from... I can't remember if it was Amarillo or Abilene, but he spoke Spanish. So he would join all the Chicano clubs. He was a white boy, but he joined all the Chicano clubs and dyed his hair black and pretended to be a Latino because he wanted to be in the Chicano club. So we got along great. And then I was playing him, the guy who wrote the book. And so then I gave myself my last name. My character's name was Reno, so it was obvious Nevada was.
That's
came
awesome.
right into it.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for the next one? I love another movie that I love, Red Dawn.
Red Dawn was really, really incredible. John Millis.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like I've gotten to work with some incredible Day of the Locust, Waldo Salt, Dalton Trumbo,
Yeah.
and Johnny Got His
Yep.
Gun, John Milius, Brian De Palma. They're like
Seriously,
heavyweight.
Pepe, you're very blessed, man.
And yeah, it was like incredible to be able to do all this work. But it was interesting, and I've done 5 movies in Santa Fe, and man, that's where I became an artist.
Really? Because of Buckaroo Banzai?
No, I'm sorry. It was.
Oh, that's just
Santa Fe.
Okay.
Red Sky at Morning and Shootout, 1970. When I did those.
Okay.
That's when I started. Yeah.
Pepe, the next movie I'm about to say, cult classic again. A lot of people don't know about this. Fandango.
Fandango. Yeah.
I love that movie. Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great cast, man.
Yeah, and there was the Tim Zimmerman, whose father had been Fred Zimmerman, who had been a big director. I was assistant director on Day of the Locust, and I was, and he was producer on Fandango, so he got me the gig. They just gave me the part.
That's great,
And
right?
that's where I met Kevin Costner, and
Which you would end up working with him again
yeah,
on Silverado.
correct.
Tell me about Silverado. Anything?
Silverado
Any quick story?
was great because I was sure that when they gave me Silverado, because it was like I could tell they wanted me in the movie when I went in, and he said, and I thought that they were going to change. I was Scruffy was my character's name, and I thought they were going to change it to Pancho like they usually do, you know. But they left me as Scruffy, and I always, being from Texas, I always wanted to play a redneck.
Yeah.
So it was like my first movie. Just jumping back because it was in
Please.
Santa Fe too with Gregory Peck, not my first.
That's
my
right.
first Western was
The Shooter? Was that The Shooter?
the Shootout.
The Shootout.
Yeah,
Yes.
and Andy Luke was the character's name, but when they gave it to me, they changed it to Pepe and made me half Indian and half Mexican. But they didn't change any of the dialogue. It stayed like Andy Luke, so I played it just like Andy Luke. Golly, Bobby Joe, why did you do that? You know, so I was straight like wanting to play, you know, a kicker.
That's awesome, man. Okay, we're almost done with this. But I love
man.
but I love all of this story. You have no idea how much I'm appreciating everything you're saying. Knight Rider.
Knight Rider
You really
with Hasselhoff.
with David, the
Yeah,
Hasselhoff.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The interesting thing about that was where we shot was a nunnery that had like 5 houses on the top of Silver Lake, and I had apartments that I had bought, and the lady that bought them was trying to buy that same nunnery where we had shot Knight
Okay.
Rider, and Katy Perry came in.
Not the Katy Perry.
Yes, the singer.
Okay.
And took it out from under her, and the nuns really wanted to give it to this girl from Santa Barbara, but I don't even know what finally happened, but it was a beautiful set. It was a beautiful, like I said, it was a convent.
Yeah.
They had like 5 houses, and it was on top of Silver Lake, so it was like 5 acres, and it was.
Pepe, what I don't understand, I got to stop you here. How is Katy Perry back in the day you filmed Knight Rider?
Well, she wasn't. It came later.
I got
just
you.
tried to-
Okay, I was like,
Yeah,
man, wait
yeah,
a
yeah,
second.
yeah,
Something's
yeah,
not
yeah,
right here,
yeah,
Pepe.
No. We shot. I just went. The Knight Rider was the most memorable thing.
Yeah.
Was that?
I
later,
got you. I
when that
got you,
happened,
Pepe. I was like,
where
man,
we
Katy
filmed.
Perry, Pepe, come on now. All right. Well, I only got 3 more. The Rookie with Clint Eastwood,
Clint
who
Eastwood.
I was named after.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So
all
I'm
right.
always a fan of any Clint Eastwood story.
Well, yeah, and then, like I said, I was going to be the Mexican Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
With my eye patch, and then finally to get to work with him. I didn't get to meet him when I auditioned. They just filmed it, like they do. You go in, they record you.
And Pepe, wait, I'm going to stop you right there. What I loved about this movie for you is like you had like a different part. For the very first time, you were like the main detective. You were like...
Yeah, the lieutenant.
Yes, which was nice. Did you kind of think that this was going to take you in a different direction because you booked this?
I had done enough to know that life happens the way it does, and you can't. You like to think that things were happening, but it didn't. Like Day of the Locust, I had a nude scene, and they wanted me to be a centerfold for Playgirl, and these guys, but I didn't do it. But
Burt Reynolds still regrets his doing that naked thing for that.
But he regretted it, but it still put him out there.
Yeah. Okay, Pep, I didn't mean to cut you off about the rookie. What was your?
No, but it was great to work with him. That he never says action or cut. You just kind of start working. I don't even know how. It just starts, and you just start doing the scene, and that was. One that you probably, I don't know if you know about, that I was going to go into, having to do with it, the Brave with Johnny Depp.
Okay, wait,
The Brave that Johnny Depp wrote and directed.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, and he never put it out. He owned it.
Oh, really?
But when I'm going, Frederick Forrest would start a scene, and he would always start a scene before the dialogue started. And so he would just start talking, and I came, we were walking down the street, and then, Sheriff, we're gonna have, so that he's already in a rhythm.
Right, yes.
But you have to have the freedom from the director to give you that, but that's kind of what Clint Eastwood did. But Johnny Depp, I go into audition for him, and it's this hotel on Hollywood Boulevard, and it's one of those one-story old Hollywood hotels with a fountain in the middle. And I
is it by Sunset and La Brea? Is it that old hotel?
I
remember a fountain there, but go ahead.
It's near. It was more on Hollywood Boulevard, I think.
Okay.
Near Laurel Canyon.
Okay.
But so I go, and there's a big water fountain, and so I'm like being all cool with my country boy, and down with my cowboy boots and down in my haunches, and just doing it. And then I'm looking at to see when they're gonna call me, and then all of a sudden Johnny Depp comes out, and I had just seen Benny and June, and I wanted to tell him that he was my favorite actor, but I look up and he comes out and he spots me, and he comes straight to me. And he comes, man, you are one of my favorite actors. So then I couldn't tell him.
Yeah, because you wouldn't believe. Yes.
But then, so he just gave me the part.
Oh, Pepe, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Pepe, you seriously, you're on a lot of legends' radar, man. People love you, like legends love you because you're a legend, Pepe. But man, yeah, you stand out. So I don't blame Johnny Depp going up to you and telling you that.
But my thing, because of improv and just because of the way we were raised, is that everybody's a legend. I don't
Amen,
believe,
brother.
I've always hated the star system because and we're all guilty of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We all do the same thing.
Right.
We're talking, and then the star walks in the room, and then you're
That's the bad thing about Hollywood parties. You'll be talking to someone and they're constantly looking around to see if there's anyone else that may be bigger than you. Oh, yeah, really, that's great. And then let me go to that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. We're all guilty of it.
Yeah,
I don't like to admit it, but that's just the way it goes. All right, 2 more.
Okay.
Miami Vice.
Don Johnson, Miami Vice. I actually auditioned for Philip Michael Thomas' part.
Really?
For like 10 days, I was auditioning everybody in town. And my agent didn't want me to do it anymore. Because, but I wanted to because I figured, hey, I always think I've got the part. So if I'm gonna do it now, I'm getting to rehearse like theater. So I'm rehearsing this whole time. I wanna do it. And And then, but Philip Michael Thomas, they wanted from the beginning. And so I did get to go to the network.
Pepe, I really would have loved that if that was you. But go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
me too. But you know, but it might have changed my life. You know, because stardom is a real bad drug.
It is. I've seen a lot of people commit suicide because of that.
Yeah, it's just because you get so high that you really start believing that you created this monster.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if you can just keep it on an even keel. That's why I always said, man, when I got a great part and when I didn't get that great part, I try to keep it around the same level.
That's awesome, Pepe.
You
Easier
know.
said than done, right?
No, yeah, so yeah. Right, it's not.
Okay, American Me.
American Me. The first day I meet Edward James Olmos, I'm doing an offshoot of Medical Center with Philip Michael Thomas,
Okay.
Scott Hylands, Chad Everett, and I meet Eddie, and we start talking, and he had just come off of a movie, and he says, the director, we're talking, and so the director says, "Are you guys ready?" And we said, "Yeah." And Eddie says, "Excuse me." He says, "But can you get me some cardboard boxes back here?" Because he had to get thrown into a brick wall. Now, I'm 75 right now. I would still go into that brick wall and not ask for a box.
Exactly.
But Eddie almost knew that he had the right to ask, like we all do.
Like we all do, but we're
sometimes-
scared, but we're
we're intimidated
Yes.
by it. But so he's telling me, I just worked with Floyd Mutrix on a movie, Aloha, Bobby and Rose, that I had auditioned for, and Bobby Carradine actually got the part that I auditioned for. But anyway, Eddie says, I got a script. He says, "You'll be the guy who kills me." And I'm meeting him, and he doesn't have any dialogue in this. And he's like a glorified extra, and I coined the phrase, "Oh, that was Eddie almost had a line." Because he was telling the director, right? So we laugh about that all the time. But 14 years later, then I was the guy who killed him. He directed that movie, man. He had a vision. It's amazing.
Yeah. You know, I ran into Lou Diamond Phillips a year ago. And we talked. I've talked to him a couple of times. But he loves you. I don't know if you know that, but he loves you.
Yeah, we've run into each other.
Yeah, but he spoke
That's
very
good to
highly
know.
of you, just to let you know. Okay, Pepe, we're going to start winding down here.
Okay.
I want to ask you a couple quick questions. Best piece of acting advice that you've learned over the years?
If you haven't read your script at least 5 times, then go back to the bus station where you came from and go back home and start all over again.
Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. What if I only have 5 lines in that movie? Still same advice?
Still same advice. It's you got to know what everybody's doing, because you got to know, it's got to be, you got to give yourself more props than you're not a bit actor.
Right.
So a friend of mine asked, a guy who's reading my autobiography, a guy who's a fan, a big fan, he said, "Do you consider yourself a bit actor?" And it was kind of like an insult, you know, because no, I'm a character actor, you know, but it's nothing personal. He just, because
Right.
yeah, you do bits, so you're a bit actor, and but the thing is that you have to be prepared for whatever you're gonna do.
Amen, brother.
And it's hard, and I wasn't a good student. I was a terrible student. And so I got very lucky. It's just that I had a passion, a dream, and I'm still after it. I'm still after it.
Okay, 2 quick questions. Best day, okay, no, let me ask this question. Worst day in Hollywood. Worst days in Hollywood, nothing personal, career only.
Wow.
Is there a time in those 50 years where you thought, man, you know what? It's time for me to move back to Corpus. It's time for me to go to Plan B.
No.
Never a Plan B in your world?
Never Plan B, no.
Okay.
No, I was working, and we were saving our money, and we got into real estate, so I knew I was covered. And
Nice.
we didn't live high on the hog, so we knew, hey, Taco Bell, it doesn't cost that much.
Okay, Pepe, everybody always told me, hey, look up, Pepe's out there, Pepe's out there. And I looked you up one time and you were living in Eagle Rock. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah,
just want to make sure
beautiful.
Really?
A beautiful old Mexican hacienda that I bought for $57,500.
Are you serious? You can't buy anything for $57,000.
No, it just sold for $1.5 million.
That's crazy, Pepe. Okay, really quick, best days in Hollywood. And don't say right now, because a lot of people like to say right now, but you know, looking back on it, when did you think, wow, those were the best days in Hollywood?
Well, you know, my best day in Hollywood was my second day.
Really?
And they took me to my wife's store.
Well, that's great.
And
yeah,
then,
that's
and
awesome.
then she came because it was like I had been focused on going to Hollywood. Even though I went to New York, into the Marines, Mexico, I knew that California, probably like you, knew. You went to New York, but you knew that California is where you wanted to go.
Right.
And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So when I got there, that had been my focus, to get to California. So now she became my focus. But American Me was great because watching Eddie create that and you know, a $16 million budget. And then what he did is that, you know how they try to bring you down, but he made sure that every Latino got paid the top, whatever they had,
awesome.
the top that they had been paid. Because nobody watches out for you like that.
Yeah, that's no easy task what he did, too.
No, as a producer and director, he said, okay, you know, I've got myself covered, but I want you to pay every actor the most they've ever been paid. Not the most,
that's
more
awesome,
than,
Pepe.
but at least, because they were trying to cut me down, because I had 10 weeks, and they were trying to, and I knew that, no. So.
Okay, all right. What do you want from Hollywood these days? What do you want now as an actor?
What I want is for them to show and create more Latino projects.
Okay.
And obviously Latino. I mean, it's a sin that they haven't done it. That they haven't done that Mel Gibson is the only one that has done anything on the empire,
right?
To the Mayans, and I mean, we have such a history.
Yes.
And it's for all of us.
Yes.
It's not,
you're right.
and especially Texas. I mean, where we grew up, it's like they're afraid that I just don't understand it, because education is everything. It's like, who are we? What we got to know. We're all the same. I say, hey, I'm Mexican American. You're Caucasian. You're Gainesville was when your family was from.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm brown. You're white. You have a Texan. I'm losing my hair, but our brains have no color, no anything,
brother.
Man. It's our brain is open. But so, what I really want is I don't know, because I'm gonna put him on the spot. I wanted to see if I could get my grandnephew.
You are, and that's my listen. So my next question, well, I'm gonna enter. This is it. I'm leading into that right this second. The next generation. What's the next generation of Pepe Serna?
Well, the next generation is already my niece Clarissa Serna, that was on The Voice.
Okay.
And she's a singer and a performer. But my mother sang every day when I was growing up, and her aunt, they wanted her to be an opera star and take her to Italy, but her family didn't let her go because she was from Mexico, and it was like, so she never got to have that opportunity. So for me, it's like I still have the same dreams and hopes and aspirations. That's why I keep coming back to Corpus and want to work with Rudy Trevino and the Tejano Project to show the kids, not only the kids, we're all kids. When you're 75, everybody's a kid.
Yeah. That
it's not just the kids. The parents have to realize that, hey, they deserve something more than because with Mexican Americans, everything is for the kids.
Amen, brother.
And a lot of people are that way. No, man, it's that you want the parents to show. I want them to go buy something nice and celebrate themselves, and that's what it's about. Is like celebration of who we are. Corpus Christi is an incredible place, and I'm so glad that we finally got to do it here.
Me too, Pepe.
You know?
At my dad's restaurant, Nolan's,
Oh,
which
yeah, Nolan's,
means so much to
that
me,
was
man.
right down the street from me growing
That's
up.
awesome. Okay, Pepe, I want to do a part 2 with you in SoCal.
Oh yeah, man.
And we're going to talk about your paintings, man. We'll
Yes,
talk about all
yes.
about your beautiful paintings, Pepe, which is beautiful. Like you're so colorful. So this is tell me about them.
Roman.
Hey, Roman, come here for a second,
come
Roman.
on, come
listen,
on here,
listen,
Roman.
Roman. You're going to sit right behind us for a second, Roman.
Sit over here, Roman.
Have a seat, Roman.
See.
Okay, so this is the next generation of the Pepe Serna.
This is the next generation, and Roman has been. I was telling because Rudy Trevino's here with us, and the first time I remember him performing when he was 2, he had a Mexican sombrero, and he was watching the Domingo show, and he was pretending to play the guitar. So now, what are the instruments that you play?
Piano. I'm in a band. It's called Young Classics.
And you play the cello too, right?
I used to play the cello.
But you still play the cello.
Still play the cello.
Yeah.
And I play bass and drums.
But he does characters and stuff, and now we can't do any ethnic kind of characters. But the other day when we were at the house at your grandparents, you were doing the shadow puppets. But you were doing different characters, just like you had one gnarly old kind of guy. Do you have some dialogue with?
I was sitting there. It was a bright Sunday morning, sitting in my old rocking chair with some coffee, maybe some rum, but some coffee. So yeah.
And then now I was running him through the improv workshops, and then do the exact same thing again, but now use the sunrise in the morning, and the same dialogue.
Okay. It's a bright Sunday morning. Butterflies flying throughout the wind. The wind howling.
Okay, now just do one of those old. You had kind of an old gnarly guy because he's like an artist too. So he was out there playing Robinson Crusoe, and he came back doing all these, Arabic voices and Indian that we can't do anymore.
Right. Yeah, I hear you.
No, but just kind of an old, just an old gnarly kind of, but kind of a.
And by the way, I understand there's a lot of pressure on you right this second.
No, but he's all right.
Okay, good.
Like,
I just don't want to put him on the spot, but go ahead, man.
It's a bright Sunday morning. We're sitting there, just me and the boys, cracking open some cold ones with the boys. And I look over to my right and I see a horse. He has 3 legs. I say, hey, Barry, let's go ride him. Let's see what happens. We get on the horse, just fall sideways. We don't even know what we're gonna do. It's kind of hard.
He's good. He's good. No, I see it. I do see it.
Yeah, he's not scared to.
Okay. All right, guys. Anything else we need to know? What do you want to do when you grow up? I know you're kind of saying, but what do you want to do?
Can
Go
you
ahead.
do a little bit of? Can he sing a song?
He can do whatever he wants.
Can you
Pepe.
do a little bit of the Frank Sinatra? Just the.
Is it Fly Me to the Moon?
Fly, do it. Yes.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, baby, kiss me.
Pepe, that's awesome. That's
Come
awesome.
on, how about an Elvis? An Elvis. Or any other? Do you know anything in Spanish?
No.
Okay. All right.
Pepe,
Anyway,
but you know what? The look on your face watching him was priceless. That's a beautiful look, Pepe.
yeah.
I can tell you're proud of him, and you should be proud of him.
And see, and for me, anybody that in any workshop that I deal with is related to me.
That's awesome, Pepe.
Anybody, right?
Yeah,
like
man.
You too.
Yeah,
you too.
yeah,
You
yeah,
do
yeah.
the same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
That's why you do what you do.
Pepe, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this, dude. I appreciate you getting up here. All right, Pepe, listen, I got one last favor.
Sure.
We tell everybody out there bye, and then we're shutting it down.
Ladies and gentlemen, hate to see you go. Happy trails to you.
Adios.
Until we meet again. It'll be soon, too.